1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show.
Now we
Right,
can go.
okay. Now we can go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome along to our weekly podcast, the Alien Spaceship, with me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
And me, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cuz. No, he calls me bruv. You call me bruv.
I call you Cuz. I say we will improve our professionalism as time goes by, but I actually call you Cuz, bruv. I mean, I call you Cuz, bruv.
Yeah, it calls me Cuz. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I call you Cuz.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, he calls me Cuz. Yeah, welcome to the Alien Spaceship. So, what have you got in stock for us today, bro?
Well, a couple of things we've sort of touched on before, possibly, but within a different context today. But I thought I would start by not actually doing an advert at all, but something that will maybe a bit relevant to something we're going to discuss. And that is, I don't know whether that's the right way round. Is that not the right way round to you?
Yes. Thoughts of intricate simplicity.
Yeah, now this is not an advert for me, I assure you, but this is a small poetry book I published a few years ago now with my poetry. Now, that's not the reason I'm saying that. I wanted to find something relevant to put on the beginning, on the inside cover, and a phrase that for some reason stuck with me for a long time, and it still comes to mind occasionally, is this: I have no gun, but I can spit.
Right. Okay.
You may say, well, what's that about? What's the context? And I cannot remember it at all. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to shut down the noise. So I have no gun, but I can spit. And I thought, that's an interesting phrase. I mean, it may have been from a comedic type of poet or something like that. But I thought, I'll try and paraphrase that into something that's relevant for me. So I put on the inside cover something that probably is fairly true of me. I have not peace, but I have my pen. So rather than I have no gun, but I can spit, I said I have not peace, but I have my pen. And that may be relevant to something we're going to talk about now, that easy to express ourselves, particularly men outside of the gender line. Men particularly find it hard to talk about their problems, perhaps their issues, and some women as well. But I think women generally are much easier about sharing their thoughts, their feelings, etc. And therefore, if we're looking at this subject, and it's not going to be just a miserable subject, it's an interesting story, I hope, of suicide and assisted suicide. And the link there could be that maybe we, particularly men, should learn to express ourselves a bit more rather than bottling everything up. Now, whether that would ultimately make a difference to the numbers of suicides and the fact that 3/4 of suicides in the UK are men is a moot point. But the story I wanted to raise with you and to talk about, a couple of weeks ago we talked about assisted dying, and I think you said after we discussed it that you don't agree with assisted dying. Would you say that's true now?
Yeah, I can't remember if I said that I didn't agree with it per se, but I did say that it was a difficult one to, and I did bring up the BBC, something I saw on the BBC Panorama program that I saw, and I said, well, I would have said outrightly that I did not believe in it or I did not support it. But after watching that program, I'm a bit on the fence. But leaning towards not being in support of it. But I am on the fence. I was just slightly leaning towards life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if after this story, as I say, it's been in the news in the last 2 or 3 weeks, although you may have missed it, I don't know. A 56-year-old lady from the West Midlands, her name is Wendy Duffy. Well, she was in a situation where 4 years ago she lost her only son. Now, she always dreamt of being a mother, and although she never married, she had a partner for some time. And although pregnancy apparently was going to be difficult for her for health reasons, she did get pregnant, and she had Mark, 23. He was 23 years old 4 years ago. And very sadly, in a bad accident at home, he choked to death on a small tomato, a cherry tomato. And he lived at home with his mother, who was upstairs. I think she'd gone to bed. But anyway, she discovered him the next morning. And she tried CPR and so on, called the emergency services. I think he was in hospital for 4 days, and then they turned off the life support machine because they think the doctor said he was brain dead, etc. Now, Wendy, as I say, she was now 56. She found it very hard to cope, as anybody would, obviously, losing their only child. And she tried everything. She was resolute that she would not get over it, because I don't believe really that people ever get over these terrible things, but you learn to cope. Perhaps you have managing strategies. Anyway, she tried everything. She had counselling, she tried antidepressants, she went to all sorts of lengths to try and overcome and to re-establish her life and so on. But she couldn't do it. And 9 months after his death, she had made a suicide attempt. Now, she took some drugs, and as it turned out, she was saved simply because her friend tried to contact her, probably was aware of Wendy's mental condition. I mean, she was a perfectly healthy woman, but she knew she was struggling. And anyway, she called the police because she hoped against hope there was nothing wrong. The police broke in and found her, and she was rushed to hospital. She was in hospital for 2 weeks, I believe, on a ventilator, and they saved her life. But in fact, when she first became conscious again, they felt she had locked-in syndrome, because she said all she could do was to move her to blink yes or no. So can you imagine trying to commit suicide because of your mental pain or whatever, and then waking up to the fact that you cannot move at all except your eyelids? Anyway, that got better. She was then discharged voluntarily, really, to the psychiatric ward, but she discharged herself overnight.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz. He'll introduce the gang who'll make the show go with a bang.